Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, welcome to my in progress of being rebuilt home studio, and welcome to the hand tool only build. In today's episode, which I have been looking forward to almost as much as you have, if not more, I've got the neck, which is most of the way there. I'm going to trim off the ends of the frets, put a bevel on there, do a little bit of tidying up on there. I'm not quite perfectly happy with the shape of the neck. I'm going to make a few slight changes to that, and the headstock as well. Change the carve in there, and then essentially the headstock is waiting for purfling and prettification. I have then got currently 4 chunks of wood, including that lovely little bit. This is going to be visible underneath the sound hole. I need to joint these and then thickness them and then joint them. I'm not entirely sure, but we have plans, and I've had a bit of an idea. There you go. Instead of having a joint in the center like I normally would, this isn't quite thick enough, and you'd end up with these tiny little pieces wide enough. What I'm actually going to do is have a central section to wedge down in shape so that the joint matches to a certain extent the shape of the guitar. Maybe we'll even have it go to that point there so as to be more visually pleasing. We shall see. Anyway, so I need to work that out, figure out where that writing is going to be and how I'm going to flatten all of these pieces and get this up and running. This instrument is coming together. I'm not going to be building anything else until the end of it. Burn it. Also, I must say, if you are watching this in August 2022, there is currently a huge sale on at crimsonguitars.com and vintagetoolshop.com. Check it out for the month of August. It's our summer blowout. I don't think I've ever uttered the words summer blowout. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's get building. Neck first. Let's get the neck done first. Fret ends poking out like that, like a swordfish snout. They scare me. Always make sure to sweep up all of these fret ends and put them in the bin. These things are nasty. Beveling file. Flush with the end of the fretboard, the edge of the fretboard. So I can hear where the fret ends are actually not fully set, and that's essentially I cut the tang off, and I need to just spooge a little bit of fine super glue down each of those fret slots, just to solidify everything. So I've got some medium super glue here and a wicking tip, and I'm just gonna very carefully put that in the fret ends. Now, fret slots. I don't want this to go down the top of the fretboard, if at all possible. I also don't want to seal the edge of the fretboard, because at some point later I do want to stain that. But the most important thing is the playing and the sound of the guitar, and having a fret that isn't perfectly seated, even on the ends, will cause some issues. The last thing you want is for your string to get caught up underneath the fret end, for example. Ugh. I'm noticing a bit of a shake in my hand here. I think cutting down the caffeine is not going very well for me. Although my blood pressure has dropped considerably. That's dried. Might need to apply a little bit more just to fill the slots, but this will be fine now. And you can hear how much more solid the fret ends are now. Right, now I need to set the angle. I've, in the move, lost my fret and beveling file. And I'll hear the difference when I start hitting the wood. And now I'm rolling the edge of this fretboard, just a little bit. Leveling beam, 320. I'll round over the fret ends and do all that much, much later. For now, I've got a little bit too much of a D shape for me personally on this. I just want to carve away a little bit of material. So I'm going to use the Shinto Saw Rasp and a large coarse hand-stitched rasp. And I'm not taking off that much material. So you can see up here, that shoulder on both sides is just a little bit much. Subtle, but much better. Hold it up against the horizon, and you'll see if there's any obvious lumps or bumps. A little bit here. It's a very subtle thing, but that has made a much more comfortable guitar. Hells yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave the rest for now. For now, I want to move on with the back and the front. I need to mark out on the plans exactly the shape that I'm after. I don't think I need any more wood in order to make the entire front and the back, and it would be better to thickness it in a single homogeneous mass. I seem to recall that this is fairly cross-grained stuff. Perfect, okay. Poop, I tell you. I wish that lettering wasn't right up along the edge of this. As it stands, the lettering is going to have to go at a bit of an angle. It's just the way it is. All All right, so that puts my grain going at an angle which offends me. That means I'm cutting off part of the lettering. Actually, it doesn't offend me all that much. What would that look like? All right, so it's over to the bandsaw to chop that out, and why am I doing this to myself? It's cool. Just a Japanese saw will do that actually quite nicely. Being careful to keep the excess, because that might come in handy a little bit later. I might as well do two at the same time. So let's match the grain up. They obviously came from the same place. Now I could just put some masking tape around there, and then you end up cutting through the masking tape. But if you do, say, 3 or 4 applications and put a little bit more on as you go, it should all stay together. Time to use a hand plane. Woohoo! Yeah, more than enough material. I should make a template, I just can't be bothered. There we go. Now the question is, do I want to make that cut yet, or do I want to do that later? I do. I want to make that cut now because I want to joint everything in one shot. This is fun, isn't it? So of course I've got a problem here. It's easier to join things if it's all the same thickness. And I can't really do that specifically on this one because I want to leave that raw. If I had large amounts of MDF or big pieces of plywood about the place, I would be tempted right now to create a sort of a wedging jig where I would essentially put pins in the board and then put wedges in to tighten the whole thing together and just clamp it. I'm going to use masking tape. With a good quality joint, you don't need huge amounts of pressure. But my real issue is that this central section here, I really want that to be the same level as the top of this. So it's going to be a little bit fiddly to get that all working right. I'm going to mask it up on this side, then flip it over, push those down, and then put another piece of tape over from that side, and essentially work quick. That holds it together, and yeah, you'll be sorted. On with the glue up. Don't distract me. Okay, masking tape on one side before we do any glue. And I don't want any glue seeping through the joint onto that bit. I'm going to spooge the glue on something else and then put it on with my fingers. Yeah, that's neater-ish. No clamps, no weighty pressure, not huge amounts of tension, etc. And it's worked all right. The only problem I've got is that I need to do the whole thing all over again with the back. The front. This is the back. Aha. Nice. Not yet. On this one, I'm just going. I'm not worried about too much glue. And thus is the new studio christened. Okay, at this point, with this technique of gluing something, you do need to be careful that you put the same amount of tension on both sides. With thin pieces of wood, you can create a cupping. This is going to be much thinner, and I'm not worried about that. It's also multiple different things. But just be aware that it's going to want to go one way or the other. Hence me putting these thicker sections, longer sections on in various positions. That was fixing that. But it's an absolutely valid way of gluing up thin material, essentially. In fact, this first one, in this heat, 15 minutes later and it's almost done. In any case, that is the end of this video, the first one back with the hand tool only travel acoustic guitar build thing. I am supremely excited to be getting on with this. I'm going to be finishing this month. There we go, I've said it. I don't have a history of under-promising. Over-promising and under-delivering? That's what I do. Anyway, so no, I'm planning on finishing this in short order. Please don't forget there's a giant sale going on at crimsonguitars.com and vintagetoolshop.com. Fill your boots. Also on crimsonguitars.com we have currently got an incredible, well, currently, I'm hoping that it's going to work long term. Free shipping within the UK and capped shipping around the rest of the world. Capped at no more than £20, no matter what you order, no matter whether it's a custom guitar or full templates or whatever. We're nice like that. In the next episode of this series, I'm going to be thicknessing down both the top and the back. I am going to be creating the sides, which is going to require more than a little bit of cutting and sawing and all that fun stuff. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit cooler next week. I will potentially even start gluing things together. We need to make neck blocks, we need to make tail blocks, we need to figure out the jointing system, how the neck's going to glue in the first place, really. Wow. It feels like there's a hell of a lot to do. In reality, we're not actually that far away from a guitar. Don't forget I do live streams on Sunday evenings on the Crimson Guitars Extras channel. Thank you for watching. Click like, subscribe. See you soon. Goodbye. Crikey, I can talk. I can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and yet say not very much.